Okay, friends, now we come to the last presentation of the day, which is Cosmic CRF Limited.
Good evening, everyone. I know we've been through the entire day of people giving, investor presentations, and the gentleman who's just presented right now, he's just made us laugh so much. So I think everyone's up to hear my presentation. Hi, I am Aditya Vikram Birla, Managing Director of Cosmic CRF Limited. This company, Cosmic CRF Limited, is a dream come true for me. This company, we'll just go through disclaimer. I think we can read it. I've already put this up. This company, Cosmic CRF Limited, it basically deals with manufacturing of cold rolled forming sections. Primarily, we are manufacturing items which makes bodies and bodies and the entire structure for the wagons and the coaches. My family has been there doing this business for the last 52 odd years, and in 2021, we realized that we want to be basically scaling ourselves up and getting into the manufacturing of cold roll forming in sections. This company called Cosmic CRF Limited practically manufactures all sorts of cold roll forming in sections for all sorts of wagons. Back in 2008, this cold roll forming in sections as a business had come up, done by basically a couple of companies, hand in glove with the Railway Board and the RDSO, along with IT Roorkee. They really wanted to get into this entire business of manufacturing products for the body part of coaches and wagons primarily, which would help people to realize that, that usually when the wagons are built, it goes into the refurbishment very easily, very quickly. And the railway and the government did not want this to happen. They wanted that these wagons have a long-lasting life. So usually back in 2006, 7, 8, the wagons used to get manufactured and go into refurbishments in 3 years. By installing and introducing cold roll forming in sections for the body parts and for the manufacturing of the entire wagon, we have been able to scale this up into a situation where all these wagons now come to get refurbished over the last 12 years, like after 12 years. That is how Railway was planning to actually increase its entire capacity. Today, just to start this entire presentation and to give you a brief about who we are and what we do. So like I said, cold roll forming in sections. We are primarily manufacturing cold roll forming sections for the railways. Along with that, we've also introduced ourselves as a cold roll forming manufacturing company for all the components which are required for your infrastructure as well as defense. Infrastructure primarily, not defense. Defense is like just 1 or 2 items that we are doing per se. We have one big factory which we had acquired in 2021, 21st of December. Actually, we acquired it in 2022, 19th of this January. But this company was formed in 2021. And we actually bought this asset out through a BTA, business transfer agreement. And that is how we entirely started the journey. When we started this business, the entire capacity on this situation was basically roughly 18,000 metric tons was the installed capacity. And what we could have utilized was 12,000 metric tons per annum. Along with that, as soon as we had bought it, we started putting in the capex. And we were making sure that the factory that we had just bought was refurbished to the T. Now, when we say refurbished to the T, it is easy to say that you're completing 65-70% of your installed capacity, but usually it doesn't happen that way. In the component manufacturing business and the engineering business, you usually end up doing 60, 65, 70%. I was of the viewpoint that if you don't do 85%, we won't make it through, because in my background over the last 52 years, like I said, we are manufacturing more than 3,000 SKUs in 3 or 4 of our smaller plants around Bengal, and we do it mainly, these 3,000 SKUs primarily for railways. So we had an idea that the conversion of the component manufacturing business should be operating at an 85% efficiency. The total capacity today in the plant stands at roughly 36,000 metric tons. The plant in Singur, which is the primary plant of ours in Cosmic CRF. Along with that, we were actually very bullish. We kind of moved on and we wanted to buy and acquire another unit right after we had acquired this unit, which was NS Engineering Projects Private Limited. That was our gateway to opening our doors for the infrastructure business. The idea is, a lot of people keep asking me why infrastructure, why not just railways, because railways has a huge tailwind. I often say that, the tailwinds are right now, obviously railways is a business which is going to be there for the next 16 years. Quote me on that. It's a given. And if you want to know why, I will tell you separately. It's the secret sauce. Railway is going to be there for the next 16 years without any downfall anyway. But irrespective, India has grown on three major legs, and that is your infrastructure, on railways, and on defense. I think we touched the two bases very strongly by actually acquiring Cosmic CRF as well as acquiring NS Engineering Projects Private Limited. With NS Engineering Projects Private Limited being in space, we are roughly guaranteeing 1 lakh ton of the turnout by the end of this financial year. When we had got our IPO done, we were actually, I think on the 30th of June 2023, we raised 57 odd crores, and we had put 30 crores as capex to increase 18,000 metric tons to 36,000 metric tons immediately. The reason behind this thought process was that I personally am an impatient guy, so I don't really want to waste too much time. I'm 35 by 40. We want to just get there, be there, and get everything going to the larger scales. So I kind of had stated something like during my listing and prior to listing that we will keep increasing our top lines and bottom lines almost 100% every year, and that's how it entirely matched up. So for me to keep the turnovers picking up, the productions picking up, the capacities picking up was imperative, and this imperative had to happen not just by putting in capex in the same assets, but also to buy newer and fresher assets. Just the journey that I've already discussed. 2021 we started the company. 2022 we had bought the company back. We had bought the asset out of the BTA process through another company, and this BTA is why BTA. Why not slum sales? BTA, because we got this asset with all its licenses. It's very difficult to get the RDSO license and the railway board license to manufacture specific items for the railways. 2023 we listed our company, and we got an order book of almost 490 odd crores roughly when we were listing, and by the end of the financial year we were pretty much on 530. As I speak here, we are today standing with an order book of more than 685 crores. And this is why this is not in the presentation, because I put the presentation up before, and we got the order and the inspection requests on the order day before yesterday. Research and development. Yes, our company is growing very fast. By research and development, I'll also give you I'll throw some light on a particular idea. Cosmic CRF, why is it so different? There are 7 more players in this industry who's making CRFs for wagons and railways. Why is CRF so special? There are 21 to 22 types of specific wagons running on your Indian rail tracks along with DFCC. All of these are basically being manufactured through CRFs. Only Cosmic CRF is the only company that can manufacture all wagons through the CRFs that they can produce. So Cosmic CRF is doing R&D continuously with the railway board and the RDSO, and is also working with the integrated railway players as well as the individual wagon builders to manufacture these prototype wagons for which we are known. So basically right now there's a new wagon that's come up in the market called the BOSM. BOSM is like, if you guys are aware of what wagons look like, so basically wagons, malgadi hai. So malgadi mein we kind of transfer minerals and things like that. So that's the most famous wagon. There's the most run wagon in the Indian Railways. It's called the Box NHL. And BOSM is a lighter weight, lighter axle load, but a faster wagon. So usually a wagon runs at 25 kilometers an hour. This wagon, the BOSM, runs at 40-45 kilometers an hour. And Cosmic CRF is the only company that manufactures the CRF and the body type for that wagon. And we supply it to the railways as well as to people who are getting that order from the independent sources. And also people like, the wagon builders like Titagarh, Jupiter, Texmaco, and XYZ. This is me, smart, handsome man. You can read about me. Yeah, I finished my education from Jadavpur University, born, brought up in Calcutta. Yes, I finished my MBA post that in United Kingdom, Cardiff University. Been in business for almost 13 odd years. Spend all my time in business. And yes, we've been envisioning this for quite some time, because I've been with the railways, working in the railways, or like through my companies for the past 13 odd, 14 odd years. So I have walked all the corridors in the RDSO and the railway board, and people there pretty much know me. I mean, initially they used to be like, ye bacha kya kar rahe yahan pe? But reality mein, it just worked out well. Now they kind of trust in what we say. Vision and mission. These are long statements that have been written. Looks fancy, but the bottom line is, the vision is to basically provide solutions to all our customers at the cheapest price. And why I say cheapest is because that creates a big entry barrier, other than the entry barriers that are already there in the railways. That is where, I mean, everybody knows about it. So we believe in scale. We'll scale the business. We will try and take over and crunch the market from everybody else, and we will do it with all the smiles on the face. The vision is to provide you the best quality, the best deliveries, and also the best prices. The mission is basically to make sure that we are at global standards, and we also keep increasing our target markets, sustainable practices, compliant practices, and yes, build on the numbers, doubling the numbers. Strategy of the business. It's kind of a little repetitive, but let's get through it very fast. So NS Engineering Projects Private Limited is the company that we took over in the beginning of this year. And in record time, actually, one of my friends and also a very famous investor had called me up and told me, Aditya, you're very bullish on the takeovers, but usually these takeovers don't happen like this. NCLT, it takes time. And I said, we'll complete this takeover at record time. By God's grace, we completed the entire takeover in record time. I think by IBBI books, this is the fastest and the most efficient takeover that's happened since 2016 December in NCLT. We are already in production. The first phase is on. By, I think, March 2025, all our phases will be on, and we'll be good to go for 650 crores of turnover, probably the capacity that's installed in NS Engineering Projects Private Limited, which is again the subsidiary of Cosmic CRF Limited, and that does almost 60-40% of the business. 40% of the business in NS Engineering Projects Private Limited is done for the railways. 60% will be done for the infrastructure. The healthy order books stands at 680 crores, but it's showing 504 because the new order that's come out has not been shown here. That's specifically for sheet piles. I'll come to the sheet pile sheet because that's a very interesting product. Along with that, we also have global partnerships that we are talking about. We've also mentioned that in our compliance reports, as well as we've also enlisted that in the BSE. Yes, we are talking to people. We are talking about becoming a wagon builder very soon. The product portfolios. Cold roll forming in sections at large is just not for the railways or for the infrastructure. It has a lot of applications. The applications is wide enough. It goes into the EPC projects, the roadways, infra, as well as for automobiles, as well as for other kind of infrastructural projects. Not just infrastructure, industrial projects as well. We are known for our prototype. I've already discussed it. The prototypes are the kind of wagons that we kind of manufacture, and that is where the strength lies. Usually, if you see my peers, they are doing a business of almost 10 to 11% that we were also doing. But by now, this year, we are thinking of, we are not thinking. I mean, we are looking at the numbers, and the numbers looks much more robust in the bottom lines as well, along with the top lines. And that's because of the prototypes, because there nobody exists. So it's like literally monopoly till such time somebody comes up and makes a product. And there should be a question. I'm sure if somebody is listening to me very clearly, they will ask me the question as to why you feel nobody will be able to catch up very quickly. Ask me the question, I'll answer it. The products are the applications. So the applications I've already mentioned, it's pollution control sectors as well, automobiles, along with railways, buildings, as well as coffer dam managements through trench boxes, as well as through sheet piles. These are the kind of wagons that we kind of manufacture. These are 5 out of the 21, 18 to be precise. The 4 wagons need CRFs, and we provide them CRF, but they don't need RDSO approvals. This is the sheet pile. This is a very interesting product. This was introduced to the market by ArcelorMittal 22 years back. Cold roll sheet piles. They usually do hot roll more than cold roll. The cold roll is much more cheaper than the hot roll. So the Indian market, as well as the SAARC countries, also believe in buying this much more. We are right now literally I won't call ourselves the market leaders, but we have really pushed ourselves to be in that position where we are being able to capture most of the markets. We are supplying to the L&T as well as to people like Shapoorji Pallonji, the giants, and also to the to the irrigation departments in various states. These products are basically made against order, and there are 4 types of products of these. Even ArcelorMittal makes only 2 types of them. We are trying to manufacture all 4. So we are manufacturing 3 right now. In NS Engineering Projects Private Limited, by March, we'll be able to manufacture the 4th item as well. Like I said, the subsidiary of NS Engineering, so it's Cosmic CRF holding 74% of NS Engineering. I'll just run this through. 74%, so yeah, and the 26% lies with one of the family companies, and that's the reason because we got into buying this company right even before we pitched for this company, even before we went into listing. So this company was way too new. We didn't have a balance sheet, and the bankers weren't interested to fund us. Eventually, we didn't need any banking funding. We funded it ourselves from our internal accruals. These are the basic capacities. Like I said, 1 lakh tons is all that you need to know. Cosmic CRF and its subsidiaries will be doing it. Competitive advantage. These are basically the advantages of state-art facility, state-art galvanizing bath. Galvanizing bath doesn't come up easily, is not available very easily because of the polluting factors in that. With the NS Engineering Projects Private Limited that we've taken as a subsidiary into Cosmic CRF Limited, it has a state-of-art galvanizing bath which allows us to get 3,500 to 4,000 more on the bottom lines, which is almost 4.5%. These are our private sector partners. The few of them, we are supplying to more than 130 people, along with the vendor, along with the smaller parties, and along with the aggregators. The basic industry overview, these are the basic big numbers, huge numbers. We are a small fish in the pond. These are like 50, 60,000 wagons. So the industry that we're trying to show is the industry is large. It's got very large scope, and the scope is not just 12, 15, 17, 20%. We've seen the railway sector only providing 6,000 wagons a year. Today we are doing 6,000 wagons a month in just 2.5, 3 years. So that's crazy, and it will go up to almost 6.5 lakh wagons because the Indian Railways needs 8 lakh wagons, out of which we have only 3 lakh wagons, and they need to complete this within 2030. So 6 lakh wagons, 5.5 lakh wagons to be precise, needs to come out in the next 6 years, which is something like massive, and we don't have that kind of capacity. Not in with us, it's not in the market, it's going to build up, and we want to be in the front line to build the capacity faster than anyone else. These are again the large Indian sectoral numbers. The reasons why we have put these slides, and if we had more time, we would have explained this point on point, but this is what shows that the market has huge strength. Recently someone told me, orders nahi aata hai railway mein abhi, bahut aage din aage aaya tha and all that. You have to look very closely. The railway orders are right in there, and there are people who are still placing orders because there's private orders also being placed. This is the infrastructural part because we've entered the infrastructure as well. So this is also that part. And the numbers again are in lakhs of crores. We just want a few thousand. Market size, again, 22 lakh 35,000 metric tons by 2027. In these items that are specifically mentioned that we are doing right now in Cosmic CRF, and we'll be garnering 15 to 16% of the same. Performance highlights, we have grown in the revenue operations 108.6%. The EBITDA has grown by 85%. Profit after tax is 98.9%. This is the growth. Like I said, every year, we will try and scale up 100% on the top and the bottom. These are the annual balance sheets. It's available, and everyone can have a look. It's there. This is one part that I wanted to just throw some light. We are aspiring to actually get into manufacturing of more items for the railway so that we can provide 360-degree solution for everything that a railway person needs, be it a wagon builder, be it a coach builder, be it the railway industry at large. And for that, we eventually we have a backward integration that is very strong over the last 52 years with CRF, NS Engineering, and Cosmic Springs and Engineers, which is going to come up right now very soon through the BTA process. All this put together, we will now have to look at the forward integration, which has to be organic and has to be thought out. I've been thinking about this over the last 6-8 months, and if God willing, we should be able to declare ourselves as a wagon builder, one of the most integrated and the largest wagon builders in the next 1.5 years. Let's hope so. Heavy fabrication is a part of that as well, because all of my assets are also doing fabrication on the side, and we are also trying to get into the bridge girder business, which is also going to be supporting the high mast, the octagonal poles, the sheet piles, and all that the railway and the infrastructure industries need. This is the last slide. So this is like post-acquisition of NS, we had 1,500,000 metric tons. We need to understand that we started with 6,000 metric tons because 60 crores was all that this plant used to do. Cut to today in 1.5 to 2 years. We are talking 1.5 years actually. In 2 years will finish. We are talking about 1,05,000 metric tons. That is the growth this company is looking at. We are targeting the consolidated balance sheet to be over around a 500 mark, and over the next. And this is one line that I need to, point out. A couple of my friends have mentioned this to me. The last line that you guys can read. Over the next 5 years, aiming to double top line capacity, bottom line, and turnover. This guy called me up in the middle of the night and said, seriously, it's just 15% CAGR. It's mega when you're talking about doubling up scales every year. So, gentlemen, this is over the next few years, aiming to double top line capacity, bottom line, turnover, yearly. Yearly is the word, yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty much done. I'm open for questions. That's quick. Thank you.
The floor is open for Q&A, yes.
So thank you for setting the pace for the growth. Mike is calling for this. India needs impatient entrepreneurs like you.
Extremely impatient, sir. Extremely impatient.
You can come here and ask a question.
First, I was saying thank you for setting the pace for the growth. India
Thank you so
needs
much.
entrepreneurs like you
Thank you so much.
to realize 30 trillion and bigger. Now, this 100% CAGR which you said, and you said the runaway you are going to do, I think there was an interview I read before that I think 5,000 crores somewhere around 28.
Yeah.
Now, this long runaway, right? Because India and beyond also you are targeting. So, how long this is the long runway is there? This is the question.
Long. It's going to be long. See, the idea is I gave this interview almost a year back, right? It's almost a year. We are talking about the growth in a way where every growth is coming with the asset that I'm buying. It's not just the asset that I'm buying, there's an after plan also. So for example, between you and me, there's an asset that I'm trying to pitch right now for that you guys know of. I've already mentioned it. We are in the NCLT in the process to buy that, and we're pretty much very close to that. If that asset gets delayed, I'm going to buy it for sure, but if that guy's asset gets delayed, however, we still have plan B, which is going to work out, and your top lines and bottom lines and the promises that we are making to the best of our ability by God's grace should not cut down, we started with 60. 60 was not in the books of Cosmic CRF. It was the company that was initially working. We started first year with 121, next year 253. So 121 crores was my top line. Bottom line was 6.5 crores PAT. The next year was 253 crores, which is this year with this last year, 2024. And my PAT was 13 crores. This year we'll do the math of 500, and the bottom line should also look equally good, maybe more. Post that, NS Engineering opens up, and it has 65,000 metric tons from this year itself. So next year, you're looking at an average price sale of 100 rupees over 105,000 metric tons with Cosmic Springs and Engineers, which is going to come up, which already has been mentioned, and the BTA will be announced next week itself, mostly. Post that, now the question comes, the interesting part, what next? You've reached maybe 4 digits, then how does it go double from there? It does, and that is why we are working in the NCLT for acquiring this asset. If this asset doesn't come up into my books in the next 1.5 months, in the second month, I'll be announcing something else, which is more interesting. Or we'll announce both. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not really been a very, business-friendly state. So
Yeah.
what is the risk that you see from a state perspective?
See, thank God you asked me that question, because now that I'm working on the asset that I'm working on, and if you just go into the details, states will change, right? We'll not be only a West Bengal, and the asset, if taken over, this asset will be bigger than the entire company at large, right? So that asset's books will be almost 3 times of this books, current books, and we'll now not be only in Bengal. We are looking at 2 more assets, which is out of Bengal. So primarily, if everything goes as per my plan and vision, in the next 3 years, we'll be pan-India player, but not just pan-India player, we'll actually call ourselves international player. There's a reason for that also. You can go into the SEBI also to read the guidelines that I've given.
Is there a strategic advantage of being in West Bengal?
Sorry?
Is there a strategic advantage to be in West Bengal for this business?
Yes, there's a huge strategic advantage to be in West Bengal, because West Bengal, there's an entire category of players around West Bengal. Over the last 52 years, since my family was working out of West Bengal, we have more than 1,200 ancillaries that works. And ancillaries just not for manufacturing smaller items and components, but they also manufacture and help. They are the EPC players, they are the contractors, XYZ. Along with that, all the wagon builders, there are 11 legit wagon builders. Out of 11 legit wagon builders, I think 9 are in Bengal and the periphery, right? And all of them are out of that place because the steel is cheaper to you there. Power is cheaper, manpower is cheaper, most of them are skilled, and if you've been to West Bengal, there's this place called Howrah, right, where there's a Loha Patti, and you have every house, 4x4 has an Elon Musk there, working at dirt cheap prices, literally.
Yes, Vinay.
See, we are accruing a lot of Vinay, right? So we are accruing a lot of money right now. The acquisition that took place has happened through the pref that we had raised, and the capex is also happening in that asset, and all the assets through the IPO funds and the pref that we raised. The accruals are still with us. Books are still carrying cash. Along with that, we have not really leveraged ourselves for the debt. If you see my balance sheets, we had reinstated balance sheets because when we bought this asset from through the BT in 2022, this asset had a very low value in terms because they had already taken the depreciation XYZ. Now cut to today when we got the real asset of the value of the asset is much higher than the leveraged position that we are in. So however, even if you want to get into that position, the asset structure can get leveraged and we can get debts at very, very, very cheap prices.
But will you be able to replicate that for the 2x growth that you're planning?
Absolutely. How will not that be possible? So basically, when you're buying an asset and you have to basically keep the books, the EBITDA margins have to be clear and has to be open-ended. Today, the company has a debt of, I think, 41 crores, 42 crores, out of which 12 crores is just your term loan. And the other one, that what's it called, your working capital, is not completely utilized. Now, when we take the company and we kind of take it around, there's another point to it. The company that we are planning to take over, right, they will not need that kind of working capital. Why? Most of these companies that I have today, like Cosmic, CRF, NS, all my past companies like Comet, Technocom, and Social Kachin, they're not in the listed space. They're all providing 3 months of credit to all the wagon builders. 90% of the wagon builders, other than the large 3 players, Titagar, Jupiter, Texmaco, most of them don't have any debt in the books. They have skimmed the milk out of the vendors. And we have actually supplied them products for over 4 months of credit. So these companies will be supplying the material to them only. Because the catch of a wagon builder is not the margin that you're making, it's the scale. And the scale can only happen when you get 1200 components along with steel and the wheel sets all together in your house. Because only one, even if one pin is not there, the DM, that is the dispatch memo, will not be issued by the RDSO. And if you have everything in place, the RDSO is willing to get you a dispatch memo every day. You can release wagons every day from your corridor, from your railway siding, and you get paid 4 days, in 4 days, like T+3.
Last question. Yes.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. So in your presentation, you've highlighted that Cosmic is the only supplier of CRF components for all 21 wagon types.
Right.
And that acts as your USP.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to understand is, why is this significant, as individual customers may not require expertise in more than a few wagon types? So is my understanding correct here?
No, so I will just give you a twitch there. The twitch is, our strength does not only lie in the fact that we produce all the wagons. Our strength lies in our split roll technology. India today is standing in a horizon where they want to get into manufacturing newer wagons. They don't want to only go with the old wagons. Today, I'll give you an example. Like in Ultratech, wants to now manufacture BCF. They've already started manufacturing BCF. We've done that prototype for them. The BCF wagon basically carries cement, right? It is done by Gatex. Gatex is their aggregator. They are doing it. Braithwaite is manufacturing it. I think Jindal Rail was also manufacturing it. We've been supplying BCFCs to all of them. They are trying to search for solutions for the private customers. 4 years back, they had introduced buy your own wagon. They had stopped it because of the order that came out from the railways. Now they will again start the buy your own wagon scheme, because people are now lighter on their books. Eventually, when you buy your own wagon scheme will also open up, because not everybody needs 10 rakes, 20 rakes, 100 rakes. So one player, say Ultratech is still a big player, but say for example, a smaller player will only need say 3 rakes or 4 rakes of a specific wagon on a design type. So you will have to be in a position to be able to produce all of them. Coming back to the next point of yours, that any wagon builder does not have 1 or 2 types of wagons. They are all searching for orders of all types. For me, if I'm manufacturing a new prototype kind of wagon, my margins increase because there's nobody else playing around in that area. Similarly, for them, to manufacture that wagon is a challenge, but once they manufacture the wagon, they drive better prices. For example, BVCM is a wagon, you can only achieve 28 to 29 lakhs plus GST for that wagon, whereas Box & HL gives you 33 lakhs per wagon. When you talk about a BOSM, you're getting 38 lakhs. If you talk about a BCFC, you're getting 40. If you talk about the newer ones that are coming in that I'm not mentioning, which will be mentioned later by the railway board themselves, we're talking about 40, 40, 44, 45 lakhs. So the margins keep increasing, exploding.
Got it, got it. And one final question.
Yeah.
How will your margins and revenues change post the acquisition of one of the wagon component companies you're looking at in your presentation that you talked about?
Right.
So what's the range on a stabilized basis going forward that you see on EBITDA?
See, there are 2 acquisitions that I was mentioning, right? So there's one which is, we are renaming it as Cosmic Springs and Engineers. That's a smaller part, but that's a very important piece in the entire story. The reason is, if we buy that, so my idea is, before we call ourselves to walk into the arena of large, big daddies, in the wagon building sector, I need to have integration of all items that I can manufacture. Springs, cast-up springs, and things like liners and spring planks are smaller components and small items. It only constitutes of almost 7% of the entire wagon. But they are also critical items. Unavailability of those will create issues for me. So we are creating that. The margins there are very hefty. Very hefty, as in we are talking about 15% as PATs. So that is where it goes up to. Though the numbers are smaller, but that is what is going to average out. When we talk about the second one that I'm talking about, the Amazon, which I've already mentioned, if we are willing to take that up, and if we, by God's grace, we take that up, the margins will increase only because, like that gentleman, Vinay, I think he asked me, the working capital stress is there in every quarter, right? So, but for us, the working capital stress will not happen because our debtor books are anyway stretched because we are dealing with prototypes. So we will not be dealing with prototypes to the larger market. We will be doing it in-house. We will provide our working capital here, our strength on the finance here, and we'll provide the raw material and the finished item in pieces in the entire set for making a wagon to our company that we take over as a wagon builder, or the one that we might kind of build up ground up.
Got it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. I think with this we end the Q&A. We have a celebrity, Nigel. Please give a warm round of applause to Nigel D'Souza, please.